Well, good morning, everybody. It is so good to have you all with us this morning. Could you do me a favor if you could, as you all keep filing in, if you could let us know where you are logging in from. So what part of the world are you in? We just want to know who we have in the chat. The chat is open for everybody to see. No, you cannot see each other, but you can. It is going down in the chat. So I see Maine, I see North Carolina, I see Florida, I see Arizona, Atlanta, Indiana. Wow. San Diego, California. I love it. Vancouver, Washington, Carrollton, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. Good morning. Ashburn, Virginia, Columbia, South Carolina. Well, wherever you are in the world, thank you all so much for tuning in this morning. We are so grateful that you are with us. Welcome to the Candler School of Theology. My name is Marielle. I am the Director of Career Services here. And we are just going to be giving you some information about who Candler is and our students and why it is such a great place to recruit. So I think somebody said they cannot hear me, but I want to make sure everybody else can, and that's just not a user error. So if you could give me a thumbs up or something in the chat just to let me know if you can hear me. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Kimberly, who says she can hear me. Kimmy says she can hear me as well. Awesome, we love it. So to my friend who cannot hear us, hopefully maybe try logging out and try to come back in. If you're just joining us, if you could drop in the chat where you are watching this from, let us know what part of the world you are in. We would love to greet you appropriately, just to say good morning. I have some folks that are from South Carolina. I got some folks that have said they're from Vermont as well. So we're thankful that you are here. I want to make sure that I am respectful of your time. I see you Gainesville, Florida, and I see you Dallas area. I see you Atlanta, Georgia. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So I want to be respectful of your time. So we're going to make sure we get through this in an appropriate fashion. And maybe I can give some of your time back to you today. But there are a couple of housekeeping things that I do want to take care of. There is a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. If you have a question during the presentation, if you don't mind using that feature and don't put it in the chat, just so I can make sure that I see it. The chat, it is very active. So I want to ensure that I answer your questions. So if you could utilize the Q&A feature, just to let you know, I'll answer questions at the end of the presentation. And if you guys have any questions, like I say, in real time, you can go ahead and put your question there, and then I'll get to it at that point. This is being recorded, and so we will send this out to you all as well. So if you want to share this with other folks that are in your organization, or if you may have to hop off or whatever the case may be, I will be sending this out probably later today as a recording. All right, so let's get to it. So our agenda is very simple today, right? So one, I want to give you an introduction to Candler, and then I want to do a breakdown of our student body, how we're preparing our students to be great candidates for you, and then also how you all can recruit from the Candler community. So the first thing that we're going to start with is an introduction to Candler. Before I dive into that, I want to ask a quick question of you all. When you hear the phrase theological education, can you tell me what comes up for you? What immediately comes to your mind when you hear that? So when you saw the title of this webinar, it was like thinking outside the recruiting box, why your next hire is in theological education. What were some things that came up for you? You can drop it in the chat, and it can be one word. The most popular thing is, so I see you, LaShonda, she said ministry related. Chris says religion. Rebecca said religion. Yeah. Somebody says pastors and chaplains. Oh, I love that. Kristen says alignment in worldview. That's interesting. I love that. Blanca says roles that involve service to others, nonprofits. That's good. Sharon says community related. She said folks who are interested in investing in their communities in multiple ways. Somebody says theory on differing faiths. That's good. Somebody else said we are a faith-based entertainment company, so we are looking for cultural and missional aligned employees. I love that. So this is the perfect webinar for you. All right, so I'm going to just give you all some very brief facts about Candler. I usually get these questions often, especially when I'm talking to employers that are in industry. So I like to call y'all marketplace employers. Number one, the first thing to know is that Candler is a part of Emory University. We are one of 9 schools that make up Emory University. We are located on the main Atlanta campus. A lot of folks, I don't know if they know, but there are 2 campuses for Emory. There's the main campus in Atlanta, and then we have the Oxford, Georgia campus. But we are housed on the main campus in Atlanta. Within our student body, there are over 37 states that are represented. And then there are 12 countries that are represented within our student body. So that kind of gives you somewhat of an idea of the makeup. I'm going to go into deeper numbers a little bit later. All right, the folks that you see on your screens are my colleagues. This is the Office of Student Life. For those of you all who may be used to doing university recruiting, you may be used to a career center or something to that effect. We're structured just a little bit differently here at Candler, and I'm going to explain that. So the young lady that you see off to your left is our Assistant Dean of Students, Allison Henderson Brooks. The young man you see in the middle is Quentin Samuels. He is our Associate Director of Student Life. They handle student concerns day in and day out. They make sure that our students are getting acclimated to the Candler community well, make sure that every need is met and that their voices are being heard, they're being encouraged, they're being loved on, their concerns are being addressed, all of that. So Dean Henderson Brooks and Quentin, they kind of handle the student concerns piece. And I am the newest addition to the team. So I have been a part of the team since September. So still not at that year mark yet, but it feels like a year, but just because of the work that we have been able to do thus far within career services and with the Office of Student Life. So it feels like it's been longer than just a few months. So I just recently got here in September. Before coming to Candler, I have served at institutions such as Georgia State, Georgia Tech, and I have over 10 years of career services experience. So I'm really excited to be able to lend some of my expertise to the Candler community. And so I really help our students. You hear a lot around here, especially if you guys start recruiting here. Vocation is a very big buzzword at Candler. So we do a lot of vocational discernment, we do professional development, and we also do career services for our students, all encompassing. So we try to take care of the whole student. And that's what I love about the Office of Student Life, is that every aspect of the student is addressed and is served. And we care about the holistic approach of helping our students. All right, from a university perspective, I thought that these were very important, and this will make a little bit more sense as we matriculate on through the presentation. But I did want to highlight some very some prestigious things that have happened for the university. So number one, we have been ranked as a university number 21 among the top national universities by U.S. News and World Report. And in the top 100 in the Times Higher Education World University Rankings list. Also, in 2022, we were the recipient of the Higher Education Excellence and Diversity Award. We are very staunchly committed to that. So, let's talk about the numbers. Before I move forward, the lovely woman that you see behind that podium there is our dean. That is Dean Jan Love. So I wanted to give her a shout out before I go forward and just to acknowledge our dean. But I'm going to give you all some numbers, kind of a breakdown of our student body, just so you kind of understand how the pool of candidates and applicants and all of those things that you could potentially be recruiting from. So these were enrollment numbers for our 2022-2023 school year. As you can see, there's 417. We are a smaller population, but we are a graduate school. So a lot of our students come from industry and they're looking to further their experience in ministry, marketplace. And then also we have over 7,000 alum worldwide. I wanted to highlight that because when you recruit at Candler, you do have access to our students and our alumni. We do career services for for the entire Candler community that are students and alum. That's something that I really love about Candler, is that even when students have graduated from Candler, they're still a part of the family. We still make sure that they're good vocationally, and we are assisting them career-wise. All right, so here's a further breakdown of our student body. All right, so 54% of our students are women, and that number is growing, and we're very proud of that. 43% of our students are students of color. 33% of our students are Black students, and then 8% of our students are international students. If you are a company and you all you're willing to sponsor international students, please holler at me and I would definitely give you my contact information at the end of this. All right, so one of the biggest questions that I get is, well, if we're not a religious organization, why would we come to Candler? Why would we come to theological education? This is why. When I came here in September and started working with students, I was blown away with all of the levels of experience that our students have. This isn't an exhaustive list, but this is some of the top industries that our students are a part of. So as you can see, business, education, higher education, finance, sales, psychology, counseling, administration, behavioral health, law, technology, entertainment, real estate, social work, marketing, hospitality, political science, communications, public health. A lot of our students have very extensive backgrounds in a lot of these areas. So that makes them incredibly great candidates for many of you all as you are thinking about hiring candidates and meeting and finding new talent. All right, so here are the degrees that we offer, and I definitely want to highlight the dual degrees. As you can see, there's a lot of intersectionality between theology and other disciplines. So many of our students are getting their MBA and their Master of Divinity degree at the same time. Some of our students are getting a public health degree and also getting a theology degree. Some students are getting a social work degree and as well as a MDiv or a theology degree. So I really want to highlight that because that shows the expansive skill set that a lot of our students are gaining, plus the skills that they already came into Candler with. That makes them ideal candidates for you. Again, I feel this is such an untapped pool of candidates and market. So when people are thinking about recruiting, most times they don't think about theological education, but there is a breadth of knowledge that they are developing and that they walked in the door with. So that makes our students incredibly great candidates potentially for you. So I want to walk through how we are preparing our students for you and then the ways that we can assist you around employer relations. So I want to start from the university level first. So the university launched an initiative called Students Flourishing Initiative, where there are 4 main points to this initiative that we focus on for all Emory students. At Candler, and I know at the other schools as well, we take this incredibly seriously as we think about the whole student. So it's not just about them flourishing in academics, we want them to flourish in every part of who they are. So here are the 4 key components of this initiative. The first thing is the academic experience. We want to ensure that we have innovative teaching and we are expanding access to all Emory has to offer, that there is equitability, that there is accessibility for every resource that the campus has. We want all of our students to be able to have that. The second that really does encompass career services is the professional pathways. And that is, we want to provide a holistic career exploration and professional development starting in year 1. My favorite word in that is holistic. A big piece of exploration is that we are exposing our students to what can be. We are sparking their imaginations and we are working with them as far as their professional development from the time they walk in the door. So within year 1, they should start those initiatives. And we want to ensure that we work with them from the time they start with us all the way to the time that they leave. The other initiative is purpose and meaning, which is inspiring personal growth and purpose through intentional reflection. Remember, I said a few minutes ago, vocation is a very big buzzword around here at Candler. And so there is a lot of internal work for our students who are thinking about their vocation. I always tell students when they ask me, well, what really is the difference between vocation and career? In my mind, vocation is what I feel led to do. Career is what I choose to do. Right. So for those students who are trying to discern which one of those direction they want to go in, there's a lot of intentional reflection that has to happen. So I love that university-wide that this is an initiative. But last but certainly not least, that we want to ensure that there's a community and well-being, that our students have a sense of that. That is a part of their flourishing. And so there is integrated support for health and wellness. And we're creating a culture that builds community and belonging. So those are the four main areas that are a part of the Students Flourishing Initiative. So how does that relate to Candler, and how are we exhibiting that and providing that for our students here at Candler? I'm so glad you asked me that question. It's very simple. We are going to walk with Candler students from orientation all the way to graduation. From the time they walk in our doors, we are walking with them vocationally, in their career, in their professional development, from the very first day all the way to when they get their degree, walking across that stage. Off to the right are some ways and some lists of services that we do provide for our students. This list is growing. That's very exciting. This list is growing. But my commitment, and I know that our team's commitment, is that we want our students to flourish, to thrive, and we want to ensure that we're preparing them as best we can for marketplace and ministry if they choose to go into that. So some of the things that we kind of have been thinking through, and what can be specific to the Candler student. Well, one of those things that we're doing is the Candler marketing profile. Now, remember, I told y'all I started in September. So this upcoming academic year, we really will be implementing a lot of this across the varying degree programs and for the students that are coming in. So for students who are first year, all the way to students who are entering into their final year. So the Candler marketing profile really is to display their skills and to display the type of work that they're looking to do, and to highlight any community engagement or achievements that they have. This is not a real student. This is a mock-up, but I did want to show you what that looks like. So this is what a Candler student's marketing profile would look like. The other thing that we want them to have is an active resume, that we are intentionally working with them on how to work on their resume, how to update it, how to keep changing it, how to adapt it, how to adjust it. But not just their resume, we have students who need CV help. So we also do that work. Some of our students go into PhD work, or maybe they're doing other things that require a CV. So we do help them with that particular initiative as well. And then last but certainly not least, we also want them to have an active LinkedIn profile, which does help them as far as networking, job search strategy, also professional development, because of all of the things that are on LinkedIn. And then also really LinkedIn can be a digital way of having a free portfolio. So you can put the various things that you worked on, papers you've written, all of that can go on LinkedIn. So we really want our students to be able to have these three things. By the time they leave us, they should have this. We want them to be able to go into the world with those three things. Now, remember, one of the initiatives that we talked about was community and well-being, right? So a big piece of that is student organizations. We have 13 of them here at Candler, but these I wanted to highlight for you. So one is our Candler Coordinating Council. Kind of think about them like the SGA of Candler. I don't know. That's the only equivalency I can give. They oversee all the student organizations, meet with all the student org leaders. Dean Henderson Brooks, Quentin, really kind of help oversee and give them guidance and steer them and all of that. Our Candler International Student Association is for our international students. That's very important for us. Because imagine moving from your country, coming to another country to get your education. You left your family behind, your friends behind. So it is very important that community is built within that. We have Candler Women, which is just for women. Our social concerns network deals with a lot of social impact issues. Our Sacred Worth student group is for our LGBTQ plus students. So it is a sacred space for them. And then our Black Student Caucus, which of course is for our Black students. There are others, but I just kind of wanted to highlight a few of them. This is important because number one, yes, it is building that community and well-being, but number two, it also is building skills. They run their student orgs, from budgets to communication to graphics to event planning, all of that. These are skills that they're gaining by running these student organizations. And so that is just another way that we are helping to develop our students. All right, so I have been asked several times, well, what skills really are, theological students really gaining that could be transferable? So glad you asked me this question. This is not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination, but these are some top skills that I do feel students are gaining from theological education, more specifically Candler. And so we'll run through these really quickly. Critical thinking and analytical skills. The ability to communicate effectively, both verbally and in written form. I think that's important because we deal with a lot of complex topics and materials that we have to kind of go through. And so our job is to kind of take it from the clouds and kind of bring it down to a practical level that people can understand, both when we're saying it and when we are writing it. That makes sense, right? The other thing is understanding of human behavior and relationships. That's a big bulk of the work that we do, is that we are consistently analyzing human behavior and relationships and gaining an understanding of that to better serve others, right? Strong leadership and organizational skills, conflict resolution and mediation skills. Right? These are all very important soft skills that a lot of people do not have. And so our students are gaining this plus the academic piece of it. Cultural competency and sensitivity to diverse perspectives. That's a big one. A lot of our students are doing interfaith work, which means they have to have an understanding of other faiths. And when you can understand other faiths and have a respect and a value, you understand the cultural competencies around those faiths. You understand the people who are a part of those faiths. You understand the communities. So it's very important. That's an incredibly important skill. The last one, research and information gathering skills. That you can have somebody that sees the research, can extrapolate the data that's needed. You also can have somebody that can interpret the data and then present the data. So that goes back to the communicating effectively, right? So our students gain that because a lot of the work that they do within their classes, their assignments, a lot of it is research-based. All right, so now we can talk about how employers can engage with our community. Before I move on, the picture that you see on your screen was actually from the very first career fair we have ever put on in this school's history. We did that within 5 months of me being here, and we had all industries represented. We're so proud of that, and we are looking forward to continuing that. But that's what that picture is from. So that was a good day. That was a really good day for our students. All right, so here are some resources that are available to you. Number one, Candler does have its own jobs board. It is designed specifically for our current Candler students and alumni. Remember I told you we do our services for our students as well as our alum. And so you can post paid part-time, full-time internship or fellowship opportunities there. It is free for you. So if you go to candlerjobs.emory.edu, you can create a free account. And so you can post anytime you have a position available. A couple of things I want to highlight about the Candler Jobs Board is we have done an upgrade to the jobs board. And so for those of you all who are smaller companies, so you may not have a big HR budget, or you may not even have an HR person, I don't know. So maybe it's you don't have all the resources that you need. The Candler Jobs Board, one of the upgrades that I intentionally wanted to make was that it can also operate as an applicant tracking system if you do not have the resources for that. And it is free. That's our gift to you. So you can utilize it to hire students, but you can also use it as an applicant tracking system if you are a smaller company where you just don't have those resources. The other thing too is starting in the fall, once you post a position on the Candler Jobs Board, you will be able to go through candidates, their resumes on the site. So we are trying our best to make it as easy as possible to connect employers and to connect students together. The other thing is Handshake. So starting in the fall, I'm very excited about this. Starting in the fall, Handshake will be the primary career development platform used university-wide. What that means is before there were several different things going on, right? So undergrads kind of had theirs. Those of us who serve graduate students, we kind of had boards all over the place. We weren't on the same thing. And so starting in the fall, that makes life so much easier for so many of you all. And so we are moving right on back to Handshake. You will be able to register for career fairs, events. Many of you all found this through Handshake, so I think you're already set there, but I just did want to make that announcement that you will have a lot more candidates. It will be a lot more active because we're going back to Handshake as a university. So that's exciting. I see some people are very excited about that in the chat. And I see my friend Monique, hey, in the chat. All right, so here are some things that you all can do in order to engage with us here at Candler and to recruit from our student body. All right, so you can do in-person, hybrid, or virtual info sessions. I really want to put emphasis on that hybrid and virtual because I forgot to mention to y'all, starting in the fall, we are launching a new degree program, which is our hybrid MDiv program, which means students will be all over the country and the world getting their degrees. So that expands our student population. I really want to highlight that for those of you all who have companies where y'all have different locations in different cities, different states. Candler is still a good place for that because our students literally are all over the country getting their degree if they're a part of our hybrid MDiv program. So I just wanted to highlight that. You can also come on campus if you would like for an employer tabling session in the atrium. The atrium is where it goes down. That's the hub of activity in our building. And so during the fall and spring semester, students hang out there. On Tuesdays and Thursdays especially is popping because we have chapel on Thursdays and then the bulk of classes usually are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it's a lot of activity that's going on there. So you can definitely hang out with us. You just want to meet students in just a kind of relaxed fashion and where it's not, stiff or uptight. You just want to hang out, meet them, shake their hand, kind of give them brief information. That's a great time to do that. The other thing too is my office, we do professional development workshops. So I will send you all the calendar. We got one more thing to kind of tweak and it'll be finalized. So you can see the type of programming that we will be doing for the fall. And if there's something that hops out at you, like we would love to be a part of that, we can definitely have those conversations about what that looks like. And then last but certainly not least, career fairs. We're doing 2 in an academic year. So one in the fall, one in the spring. The good news is right now for fall 2023, scheduling is open. So if there is something that you would like to do, you want to engage with Candler, you're like, yep, let's do it. I want to recruit. We can definitely do that. And I'm going to give you my information for us to start those conversations. We are incredibly excited because registration is officially open for the fall 2023 career fair. So I know you see ministry, nonprofit, and government. Right? However, if you are a corporation and you're on this call and we're friends, you are more than welcome to attend. We just kind of like to highlight these in the fall, and then in the spring, we will do all industries. But corporations are welcome anytime. We just kind of wanted to highlight our ministry, nonprofit, and government folks because sometimes they can get lost in the shuffle, especially around fall recruiting. So we definitely wanted to do something special for them, but our corporate friends, you are more than welcome to attend. It is free to attend the career fair. However, spots are limited. Please go ahead and register if you are planning on attending. There is the link to register I will also be sending this out after the webinar as well. Spots are already filling. So when I say go ahead and register, go ahead and register. The spots are starting to fill up. I think as of yesterday, I think we had about 12 that are already start filling it out. So spots are limited. Get registered, get registered. We would love to host you and see you Monday, September 18th. All right, so if you would like to schedule a time for us to talk about, maybe kind of go more in detail about what I kind of covered here today, or if you're like, you know what, I think we want to give it a try. I would love to talk to you. We can set up a time. There's my email. So it's mtho230@emory.edu. I would love to have any conversation, or if you just have more questions, honestly. Also, if you're like, well, I don't know if Candler is the best fit, but I kind of want to come to Emory University. Can you help me with that? I sure can. I can definitely get you connected to my friends over in the Career Center. There is a lot of cross-campus collaboration happening between career centers. And remember, I told y'all we're dual degree. So we do have relationship with our friends over in public health, with our friends over in the business school. So I'm here to help you however I can, even if you're like, I don't know if Candler is it, but can you help me? I will. I'll get you connected to somebody. So there's my email. And now if you have any questions, I'm going to pull up the Q&A feature just to see if there are any questions. Sharing for a second. There we go, so I can see everything. All right. Oh, one of the questions that I do have is there a deadline for the career fair? Yes, the deadline will be, I believe, September 9th. Is the deadline to register for the fair. However, if spots get filled before the deadline, then we'll create a waiting list, but that is the final deadline in order to apply. Okay, will the fall career fair event be similar to the first one? That's good to know, Monique. I'm still working out those logistics, so thank you for that feedback. And that's something that I can consider as we continue the planning of that and thinking about the spacing and the tabling and all of that. So yeah, thank you for that feedback. I can definitely take that into account as we continue the logistics. Scrolling through. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have. I told y'all I was going to give y'all some of your time back. I told y'all I would give you some of your time back, but I really hope that this information was helpful to you. I think I have a couple more questions. Hold on. I just jumped. Okay. If we have open positions before you switch over to Handshake, how can we get those out? That part I'm not sure, but I think it looks like your name is Candace. That's a good question for the Career Center because they're kind of leading that initiative. And I'm sure, I know right now they're trying to integrate everything over to Handshake. So I'm not sure how it's going to work, especially if you had something posted on Eagle Ops. So I would definitely reach out to probably Paul over at the Career Center. And if you need to, you can just email me and I can get you connected if that's helpful. I'm more than happy to do that for you. Okay, so Monique says, do we have any information of how many students are interested in government work? So I'm still collecting that data. And so I'll have a better handle on that going into the fall because now I've been in here for a full integration. So hopefully, Monique, I definitely should have a better handle on that. But we can, and Monique, honestly, if you want to touch base, so I can hear more of your feedback, that would be awesome. So I can know what to do as far as planning for the fall. That would be great. Awesome. Perfect. So if you all have any more questions, I'm going to stick around for a little bit longer if you have questions. But like I said, I will be sending this recording and I also will send other information that I did cover throughout the webinar. It is my sincere hope that this hopefully answered some questions for you, gave you a little bit more insight into who Candler is. I am always accessible, always available. Feel free to email me. It is my privilege and my honor to help you as much as I can get integrated on campus. And so thank you all so much for taking some time out of your day. We're super, super grateful that you spent a little time with us here at Candler. Thank you all so much. And I hope you enjoy the remainder of your day. You all are so welcome. I see it going down in the chat. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. I think, Nick, if you're still on, can you email me and then let's schedule a time to talk? If you're still on, Nick Smith, I think you just say you work with Joel Osteen churches. So yeah, if you could email me, let's have a conversation. I would love to connect with you for us to discuss that. All right, friends. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.